To the woman who gets crucified for speaking up. You don't know me very well, if at all, but I've been following your story for an exhausting amount of time. It's exhausting by no fault of your own, but because people have dragged on all chapters of your story into the forefront every time they sense you've turned the page. These people have granted themselves the license to speak on you whenever they please, whenever stories are low and they want to meet that financial quota they've set upon themselves. These people have also hypnotized thousands upon thousands to believe that while they are allowed to drag you mercilessly through the mud, your license to speak and defend yourself has been ultimately revoked. I feel like social media and people's illusion that they are completely anonymous has desensitized people to the fact that the people they comment about and drag through their nails on a daily basis is exactly that, people. Every single person they message and comment on, calling them delusional for their truth not being the same as everyone else's, for calling them difficult when they've set up the circumstances to make it so. For every person that they've chosen to crucify online, there is a human equally capable of hurting right behind the name, the persona, and the content. And when you do choose to defend yourself, to speak your side of the story, their ears and their minds have already been closed off with the incomplete picture they've declared is their complete factual opinion. When you mention that you have taken the first steps towards retiring multiple times, a thought crossed my mind. It's like these people who despise you so much have this radar on them that can sense whenever you're trying to leave. And when that goes off for them, they will drag you through the mud, the nails, and the fire once again, so that you will choose to postpone your retirement because you'd rather not leave on a low note. It finally occurred to me, and hear me out, that maybe they don't want you to quit because they need a punching bag. And that brought me back to my school days because on a much, much smaller scale, our stories had the same gist. My classmates despised me, but they didn't want me to disappear and transfer, because then they would be without a punching bag. They expect us to lie down and take it and never hit back, never defend ourselves. The only way they saw us getting out of it was through pain we would inflict upon ourselves. If we were going to disappear, it was going to be permanent, or not at all. That was their vision. That was their desire. And the sick part about this is that in some ways, I can forgive those people because we were kids. We were sociopaths with brains that were far from being fully formed. The people going after you have finished their brains' formative years nearly a decade ago. This is no longer being misguided. This is the path they deliberately chose. This is the hill they chose to die on. All this to say, while you have, at your own admission, been at fault and should be held accountable for many things, your actions did not deserve the consequences you've received. Full stop. But also, if your end goal was to clear your name or change the perception of you, then you need to accept that that goal might never be achieved. The people have decided that in the court of public opinion, you will always lose. You could be swimming in an ocean, get bitten by a shark, and these people will say, "Poor shark, the mean lady antagonized you. You were just defending yourself." Did I get it right? This is what the internet does best, right? They talk about how one plays the victim all the time, and when they finally go out and say, "No, this is what happened, here is my proof, I am actually the victim," then they will call you manipulative. Gabby, if you want to retire from creating content and focus on being a music artist, then retire. Focus on your art and let your story tell itself through the pieces you produce. Your words are no good and will never be any good to the people who have decided that no matter what you do, you are the villain of their story. No explanation will ever be good enough because their perception is that the only way you will ever disappear is permanently or not at all. I don't want you to disappear. And I'm sure many others do not want that either. I want you to thrive, to create your art because you are good at it, regardless of what others will say. Nobody should hold a monopoly on artistic opinion, especially those who have relegated you to being nothing more than the monstrous villain they nearly convinced you were. High school never ends, and the people will almost always side with a conventionally attractive popular crowd, regardless of who was telling the truth. For all we know, everyone's telling the truth, and they set you up to be painted the clown. But it doesn't matter, because they have one story straight across multiple people, and you stand alone with nothing but your voice and your truth. It is because your story is different that people have decided not only to not believe you, but also to tell you that you're lying, to put words in your mouth and twist the story every time you try to stand up. They will once again tell you to lie down and just take it. And on behalf of every single defenseless kid who knows what it was like to be the punching bag, I am telling you this. Don't do it. But don't stand up and hit back either. Just stand up and walk away. What's the worst they could do? Talk smack about you on the internet? They've been doing it for years. It's just this time, they should do it to a brick wall. I look forward to your album, and I root for you in your retirement from content creation. Your show may not have a happy ending, but at least it will have a conclusion. Happy endings are overrated anyway.